3 Super Bowl rings, a league MVP award, a starting role during the only perfect season in NFL history. This man accomplished more than Dan Marino, more than Jim Kelly, more than dozens of Hall of Famers, and right now you cannot name him. You have never seen his highlight reel. You have never heard announcers praise his legacy. The NFL erased him completely. He is the most forgotten champion in football history, and he is just one of 10 quarterbacks who won everything and became nothing. What you are about to learn will change how you see this sport forever. Super Bowl 37 should have made Brad Johnson famous. January 26, 2003, Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Oakland Raiders. Johnson completed 23 of 34 passes. He threw 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. His passer rating was 77.4. For most quarterbacks, this performance in the biggest game would cement their legacy permanently. But something strange happened when the confetti fell. Every camera pointed at the defense. Every microphone chased John Gruden. Every headline celebrated Warren Sapp and Derek Brooks and the defensive domination that produced 3 interception returns for touchdowns. Brad Johnson stood in the middle of that celebration, holding the same trophy as everyone else. His fingerprints were nowhere on the story. Within 2 years, casual fans forgot he was even on that team. Within 5 years, his name disappeared from Super Bowl conversations entirely. Brad Johnson became a ghost in his own championship. The ring exists, the memory does not. And if you think his erasure was cruel, the next quarterback's story will disturb you even more. 6 years. That is how long Jeff Hostetler waited on the New York Giants bench. 6 years watching Phil Simms receive every snap, every headline, every ounce of glory. 6 years of grinding through practice knowing Sunday would bring nothing but a clipboard and a headset. Most players would have demanded a trade. Most players would have quit. Hostetler stayed. Then, December 1990 changed everything. Simms went down with a foot injury. The Giants were 13-1, favorites to win the championship, and their backup quarterback had thrown 11 career passes. 11. Analysts predicted collapse. Vegas adjusted the odds. Nobody believed a career backup could survive the playoffs. Super Bowl 25, Giants versus Bills. January 27, 1991. The game came down to 47 yards. Scott Norwood lined up for the field goal that would destroy Hostetler's miracle. Wide right. The kick sailed wide right. Giants won 20-19. Jeff Hostetler had done the impossible. 222 passing yards, 44 rushing yards, 0 turnovers in the biggest game of his life. And America forgot him within a decade. When analysts discuss that Super Bowl, they discuss Norwood's miss, they discuss the Giants' running game, they discuss Bill Belichick's defensive scheme. Hostetler delivered one of the greatest backup performances in championship history. History thanked him with silence. But at least Hostetler lost that glory to a missed kick. The next quarterback on this list lost his glory to absolutely nothing. He dominated and still vanished. Mark Rypien did not just win Super Bowl 26, he destroyed it. January 26, 1992, Washington Redskins versus Buffalo Bills. Rypien carved through Buffalo's defense like they were a high school team. 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, throws that traveled 50 yards through the air and landed perfectly in the arms of his receivers. When the final whistle blew at 37-24, there was no debate. Mark Rypien was the most valuable player of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl MVPs become legends. Joe Montana is worshipped. Tom Brady is considered the greatest athlete in team sports history. Terry Bradshaw has been a television personality for decades, based largely on his 4 rings. Mark Rypien became invisible. No national commercials, no broadcasting career, no reverence from younger generations. Ask any fan under 30 to name the Super Bowl 26 MVP, and you will receive blank stares. Mark Rypien performed at the highest level on the highest stage and received nothing in return. His trophy case is full. His legacy is empty. And somehow, the next quarterback managed something even more bizarre. He won a Super Bowl and got outshined by a 300-pound defensive tackle who played offense as a gimmick. The 1985 Chicago Bears were a cultural phenomenon. Their defense changed football forever. The Super Bowl Shuffle became a nationwide hit. William Perry, the refrigerator, appeared on every talk show in America because the coaching staff let a 300-pound lineman score touchdowns at the goal line. Their quarterback was Jim McMahon. McMahon was chaos in human form. Headbands that violated NFL rules, sunglasses at press conferences, a personality so abrasive that the league office despised him. He was fined repeatedly for uniform violations. He insulted opponents openly. He was the perfect leader for a team of outcasts and misfits. Super Bowl 20, Bears vs. Patriots, January 26, 1986. McMahon threw for 256 yards. He rushed for 2 touchdowns himself. The final score was 46-10, absolute destruction. McMahon raised the trophy as the starting quarterback of what many consider the greatest team ever assembled. 38 years later, Jim McMahon is a footnote. When documentaries cover that team, they focus on Walter Payton's tragedy of not scoring. They focus on Buddy Ryan's genius. They focus on Mike Ditka's personality. McMahon led that offense. McMahon made the throws. McMahon won the game. And McMahon became the supporting character in his own championship story. The next quarterback was not a supporting character. He was the main event, the MVP of the entire league. And then one game destroyed everything. By 2002, Rich Gannon had silenced every critic who ever doubted him. 14 years in the NFL, 4 different teams, decades of being told he was not good enough. At age 37, Rich Gannon won the league MVP award, 4,700 passing yards, 26 touchdowns. The Oakland Raiders marched into Super Bowl 37 as legitimate contenders. Then Rich Gannon walked into a trap designed specifically to destroy him. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach John Gruden had spent 4 years coaching Gannon in Oakland. He knew every audible, every hand signal, every tendency, every weakness. Gruden had built that offense, and now he was standing on the opposite sideline ready to dismantle it. The result was slaughter. Gannon threw 5 interceptions. 3 came back for touchdowns. The final score was 46-21, but the humiliation felt worse. An MVP season, a legendary career resurrection, 14 years of proving doubters wrong, all of it erased in 3 hours of national television. Rich Gannon retired shortly after. His MVP trophy sits somewhere collecting dust. When people remember that Super Bowl, they remember Gruden's revenge tour. They do not remember the quarterback who spent a lifetime climbing the mountain only to get pushed off the edge at the summit. But Gannon only lost 1 Super Bowl in devastating fashion. The next quarterback managed to lose 2, with 2 different franchises. Craig Morton holds a record that nobody wants. He is the only quarterback in NFL history to lose a Super Bowl as the starter for 2 different franchises. The first heartbreak came with the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl V, 3 interceptions, a sloppy 16-13 loss to Baltimore. The Cowboys moved on and eventually replaced him. Morton rebuilt. He joined the Denver Broncos. He led them to the AFC Championship, and somehow, impossibly, fate delivered him back to the Super Bowl, this time against his former team, the Dallas Cowboys, the franchise that had discarded him. Super Bowl 12, January 15, 1978. This was supposed to be redemption. This was supposed to be Craig Morton proving that Dallas made a mistake. 4 interceptions, 8 first downs for the entire game. Dallas won 27-10. Craig Morton walked off the field having lost the Super Bowl to 2 different franchises in 2 different decades. History does not celebrate losers. Craig Morton became a punchline, then became forgotten entirely. His pain was too uncomfortable to remember, so the NFL simply stopped remembering. And yet losing might actually be better than what happened to the next quarterback. He won the Super Bowl, then his team threw him in the garbage. Super Bowl 35, January 28, 2001. The Baltimore Ravens defense was historically dominant. They allowed 165 points across 16 games. Offenses simply could not function against them. Their quarterback was Trent Dilfer. He was not spectacular. He was not flashy. He managed games, avoided mistakes, and let the defense carry the load. In the Super Bowl, Dilfer threw for 153 yards and 1 touchdown. The Ravens destroyed the New York Giants, 34-7. Trent Dilfer was a Super Bowl champion. Then, the Baltimore Ravens released him. This is not an exaggeration. This is not a simplified version of events. The Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer as their starting quarterback, and then they cut him. They signed Elvis Grauback to replace him. They decided that a Super Bowl winning quarterback was not good enough to keep. Dilfer became the answer to the cruelest trivia question in NFL history. Named the only quarterback to win a Super Bowl and immediately lose his job. His ring came with an asterisk that could never be removed. Even victory was not enough to earn respect. Even a championship trophy could not save him from being considered replaceable. The next quarterback was not considered replaceable. He was considered historic, and somehow, history forgot him anyway. January 31st, 1988, Super Bowl 22, a moment that should be taught in every school, discussed in every documentary, celebrated in every conversation about progress in professional sports. Doug Williams became the first black quarterback to start a Super Bowl. The week before the game, a reporter asked him how long he had been a black quarterback. The question was offensive beyond measure. Williams handled it with grace. He let his performance deliver the response. The Washington Redskins trailed Denver 10-0 after the first quarter. Then, Doug Williams ignited the most explosive offensive performance in Super Bowl history. 35 points in the second quarter, 4 touchdown passes in 15 minutes, 5 consecutive touchdown drives. The final score was 42-10. Doug Williams was named Super Bowl MVP. He had shattered a barrier that had existed since the NFL began. He had proven to millions of young black athletes that the most important position in sports was available to them. And the NFL let him fade into obscurity. Doug Williams does not appear in modern commercials. He is not featured in league celebrations the way he deserves. Younger fans have no idea who he is. A man who changed what was possible, a man who made history in the most literal sense, became invisible. The league failed Doug Williams, and the league failed the next quarterback even more completely. Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls. He was named Most Valuable Player of Super Bowl 15. He is one of only 5 quarterbacks in history with multiple Super Bowl victories as a starter. He won the Heisman Trophy. He was the #1 overall draft pick. Jim Plunkett is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. His career was a resurrection story that Hollywood would reject for being too unbelievable. The New England Patriots drafted him first overall in 1971. Injuries and poor protection destroyed him. He was traded to San Francisco, released after 2 miserable seasons. His career appeared finished at age 30. The Raiders signed him as a backup in 1978. He waited. Then, starting quarterback Dan Pastorini broke his leg in 1980. Plunkett took over a mediocre team and led them to the Super Bowl, then to victory, then to MVP honors, the ultimate comeback. 3 years later, he won again, Super Bowl 18, Raiders 38, Washington 9. 2 championships, 2 rings. The man who had been discarded by multiple franchises had proven everyone wrong twice, and the Hall of Fame has ignored him for over 40 years. Every year the selection committee meets. Every year they discuss candidates. Every year Jim Plunkett remains outside looking in. 2 Super Bowl wins cannot get him through the door. 1 MVP performance cannot earn him a bust. The greatest champion not in Canton sits at home watching lesser quarterbacks receive honors he will never hold. But as forgotten as Plunkett is, he is famous compared to the final name on this list. This man might be the most accomplished invisible quarterback in the history of professional sports. Earl Morrall. Say that name to any fan under 50 years old and watch their face. Confusion, blankness, nothing. Now let me tell you what Earl Morrall accomplished. In 1968, Earl Morrall won the NFL Most Valuable Player Award. Not a backup award, not a participation trophy, the actual MVP of the entire league. 26 touchdown passes, a 13-1 record leading the Baltimore Colts, the best quarterback in professional football that season. Then came Super Bowl III. The Colts were 17-point favorites against Joe Namath and the New York Jets. Morrall struggled. 3 interceptions. He was benched in the second half. The Colts lost 18-7 in the greatest upset in sports history. But Earl Morrall was not finished. He earned a ring when Baltimore won Super Bowl V 2 years later. Then he joined the Miami Dolphins. In 1972, starting quarterback Bob Greasy broke his leg in Week 5. Earl Morrall took over and went 9-0 as a starter during the only perfect season in NFL history. 3 Super Bowl rings, 1 league MVP award, a perfect regular season record, Pro Bowl selections, 17 years of professional football. And Earl Morrall does not exist in modern NFL consciousness. He is never mentioned in greatest quarterback debates. He is never featured in NFL Films retrospectives. He is never discussed on sports talk radio. A man with more championship jewelry than Dan Marino, more MVP awards than countless Hall of Famers, more accomplishments than 99% of players who ever lived, simply vanished from history. Earl Morrall is the most forgotten champion in professional football. His story is proof that excellence means nothing without narrative. His legacy is proof that the NFL chooses who matters and who disappears. 10 quarterbacks, 10 men who reached the absolute peak of professional sports. Some held the trophy, some broke barriers, some won multiple championships, and the NFL forgot every single one of them. These stories reveal something uncomfortable about how we remember greatness. Talent is not enough. Victory is not enough. You need the right story at the right time with the right personality. Otherwise, you become a ghost. Right now, there is a quarterback preparing for a Super Bowl who believes that winning will make him immortal. He is wrong. Winning only earns you a chance. Remembrance requires something else entirely, and that something cannot be earned. It can only be given.